We got John and Jeremy, Monster Truck on the Sunset Strip. How are you?
Great.
Good.
World famous whiskey. I know you guys know about the history of this place.
Right.
From Zeppelin to AC/DC, from Judas Priest to
Guns N'
fill in the
Roses.
blank. Guns N'
Yeah.
Roses. Everybody's played here. Now, for those that are new to the band, give us a little bit of background. I know you guys are from Canada.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how you came up, loving music, maybe who some of your favorite artists were, and how you guys eventually formed the band.
It started out with a lot of talk. Me and John spent a lot of time hanging out together and kind of listening to old records. We listened to a lot of Grand Funk Railroad and classic rock, and we had been talking about starting a band like this for a lot of years before we actually ended up doing it. And it was kind of funny to see what it took to actually bring it all together, which was basically just an absence of things to do for me because I was in another band. And we finally got this big gap of time because my other band was in a legal battle, and we just decided to kind of throw it together over a conversation at a house party, and we were jamming, on Monday, the following Monday.
Wow. How about you? How'd the music bug hit you?
Same kind of idea. I've been listening to music since I was born, basically.
Yeah.
My dad's a big record collector.
Okay.
So it's always been a mix of kind of everything.
Sure.
A lot of classical and jazz when I was growing up, and then into rock and roll. And everything my dad could find, basically. But yeah, same idea. Grand Funk, Skinner. We just started listening to that kind of music when we were hanging out, and here we are.
Dropping the needle on the vinyl and
Oh yeah, man.
going through the record collection.
Yeah.
Remember what was the first big show you went to, like arena show or something that just blew your mind, the whole spectacle of the live?
I'm trying to think.
I don't have a good story. Our organ player is Van Halen, so he's got this great story about being a kid. I'm like,
Sure.
I started going to punk shows.
Yeah, me too. We started out with
Are you guys the ones performing tonight?
we're the ones doing an interview right now. We and him both started out in the punk rock scene.
Okay.
We were doing basement shows and DIY shows.
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
stuff kind of on our own. And so it was. I never got that big stadium experience really early on.
Okay.
And then we didn't. That kind of stuff kind of came later actually when I was touring, and I started to see it from the inside out really, and it was watching. Even just the Download Festival 2 years ago, seeing Rammstein and the Hives and having that blow my mind.
Yeah.
That was probably the biggest spectacle I saw, that I was really holy shit, you can take things this big, and have it be that impactful to that many people all at once. It was pretty special.
That's awesome. So, what was the path to forming the band? Who got together with who, and how did you put all the pieces together?
We've been friends for 15 years from just playing in bands together. So we always decided, we should do a band. He was having a break with his band, and we said, all right, let's do it.
Yeah,
Why not?
I kind of came up with a band name at a party, and I was drunk. And then
Surprisingly.
I literally went over to him and Steve and was like, we've been talking about doing a band, or me and John have been talking about doing a band. I was like, why don't we call it Monster Truck? And he was like, yeah, let's do it. And then we need a drummer. And we're like, hey, Steve, you want to play drums? He was literally across the room. He's like, yeah, I'll play drums. And then he was like, oh, we need an organ player, rock organ player. And I didn't really even understand the importance of a rock organ player at the time.
Right.
I knew Deep Purple, but I didn't really get it. I didn't understand. It sounded so much like a guitar to me that I don't think I understood how important it was.
Yeah.
So I was I just trusted him, and I was like, yeah, okay, sure. And I knew one. I knew Brandon. And so I hit him. I literally made a mental note, passed out, woke up in the morning at noon, hungover, and I called Brandon right away. I was like, hey Brando, we had this thing last night. We're talking about starting a band. Do you want to come play organ? He's like, yeah. And then we literally had rehearsal the next day on the Monday, which we coined Monster Truck Mondays because we only practiced once a week back then. And I introduced John and Brando to each other at the first rehearsal, and that was kind of from there just went.
So did he already have the organ, or did you kind of?
Yeah, he played keys in it like a Clash kind of
Okay.
before, so he already had one, so that made it easier, right? He's already got it.
Yeah. So the development, obviously leading up to Curiosity, which is where the world found out about the band. A lot of bars, a lot of club gigs. What was
Yeah.
the path?
Typical.
Okay.
Grinding it out in Toronto.
Okay.
You know, the way I'm sure every rock band has ever done it, just playing locally and getting the word of mouth going. The only thing that we did maybe a little different was we kind of didn't try super hard in the beginning. It was initially supposed to just be for fun, and we were just going to take it not too seriously and, you know, drink too much and generally just not give a shit. And then we were still doing pretty good even with the lack of effort, and then we realized that we were getting the kind of attention that deemed, you know, either more effort or a complete what do I got? Thanks, buddy.
It's a prop.
It got us completely you know, it caught us off guard where we didn't know whether we wanted to take it seriously or whether we were going to stick to this like mandate of just keeping it for fun. And that was when we kind of sat down and decided we were going to go for it again. And we got a van and got on tour. And basically since then we've been touring, writing records, and that's about it.
Was there a local Canadian band you guys kind of looked up to that had kind of broken into the States? Like if they could do it, that's almost a possibility.
There aren't really many of those, are there?
I don't know how many
States-
feel-good stories there are.
Yeah,
of
that's the
that.
hardest place for a Canadian band, I think, is down here. And
Yeah.
you know,
Besides Rush and a few
yeah,
others.
like I was saying,
Even
Nickelback
Triumph,
or-
they kind of came and fell off.
I don't know. There's a lot of bands from Canada who are really popular in Europe and UK, and Australia even, but they got nothing down here. So
Yeah.
That was a bigger influence. What he just mentioned was the Europe thing, because we had friends of ours in Billy Talent, and they were basically bigger in Germany than they were in Canada.
Yeah.
And we always thought that was really impressive. And they always would come back and be like, "You got to go to Germany," because they just figured that you know, Germany would love us. And so far, they're right to this point. Like we've already had a lot of traction there. We can do our own shows there now with just the small amount of you know, touring we have done there. It's started to work really well. So. So yeah, that's happened where we like had these guys to look up to that went and did it in Europe, and we try to follow their lead. But in America, again, like you said, it's way harder. There hasn't been that much to follow by. We're still struggling a little bit over here, and trying to make. Well, I think there's other bands looking at us, you know, seeing if we can do it. So they should try. So we'll see how this experiment turns out.
Well, the main thing is to have fun while you're doing it. So the music is incredible. I fell in love, you know, the Furiosity, now loving Sitting Pretty. So, you know, coming into following up a big album like that, because I know you guys were up for the Juno, for the Rock Album of the Year, and so much praise on the last album. Did you feel the pressure? You just said, hey man, we just got to keep growing, or you know, what's the process like making the new album?
As much as the pressure you can have from external forces, it wouldn't compare much to the pressure we put on ourselves to create something that we're happy with. So with both of our full-length records, we've been in some kind of situation where we're having to like evaluate what we've got and decide whether or not it was either good enough or finished enough to put out. And both times we've had moments where we were like, no, and we got to keep working. Different degrees of that kind of that situation, but it's happened both times, and we've always been one to kind of take the extra time to make sure that it was right, as opposed to just rushing it out there to get something out there, which is something that we've just learned from being a little bit older than a typical band releasing their first full length, who might do that when they're 22 or even younger. I think we were like 32, 33 years old while we were working on that album, so we had a little bit more experience under our belt. We know what happens when you rush an album, or when you kind of don't go with your gut instinct on something, and so that's helped the band immensely, not just with the album writing process, but with everything else that we've done as a band, whether it's just planning, execution, just we've got that kind of patience and that experience that's like made us you know, make the right decisions.
As far as the creative process, coming up with the songs, a lot of jamming back and forth, kind of hammering into shape, or what's the process like?
Bringing riffs to the table. Usually come with
The music usually comes
somewhat
first, and you
arrangement.
add the lyrics, or
Yeah,
can be either way.
sometimes it's the other way.
Come with an idea.
You know, it's just kind of like,
It happens almost every way.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll start with a riff or a complete song structure. I'll start with a riff, and he'll give me another riff to make it, you know. Or most typically what happens is I'll play him like 2 or 3 riffs, and then I'll be like, here's the verse and here's the chorus, and he'll be like, no, the other way around. The other one's the chorus, and this one's the verse. And then he'll just fucking go wild on it with his vocals and everything else. And then we'll take it as a group, arrange, rearrange, pre-produce, write vocal harmonies, fight a bunch, and then get it to our producer Rats and have him work through it with us too. And it can be quite the process, but you almost know how good the song is and how quickly you're able to take it from that initial idea and get it to a semi-complete structure, which usually happens with our singles or our bigger songs.
Did any of the songs that come quickly, like it almost wrote itself, where it took less to hammer?
A lot of them do that. It's not really. We're not. We don't pride ourselves in our technical prowess, I guess. We want to write basic things. Get to the point, make your point, get your mood that you want.
Yeah.
There's no reason to noodle around or like play a million notes. A million notes never works.
Unless
it hasn't worked for hundreds of years.
Unless you're a genius.
Yeah.
But
we're not geniuses.
So it's like, it's almost easy. It comes together easily because it is easy.
Yeah.
Nothing about it is too complicated or even thought about too much.
Yeah.
Sure.
We do make a lot of kind of quick decisions based on gut instincts and don't try to, don't try and overthink it too much. Why Are You Not Rocking came together in a hurry, and that was like done in like a couple days. Whereas again, other songs like Don't Tell Me How to Live, which is our single right now, we had that song pretty nailed down for a long time, and then we were on the blunt advice of a friend / crew member of another band told us that the chorus sucked, and so we just scrapped it and wrote a new one in a day, and it was the kind of the game changer for that song, which took it from being just an album track to being like potential single, and now a single that's proven in Canada and starting to work in America. So we try and be open-minded, try and listen to everyone's input, whether it's external or within the band, and really just try to do whatever best serves the song.
Now I know that song, Don't Tell Me How to Live, kind of is like a theme of the band. You refuse to be beaten down or told what to do, or
positivity.
To stay on course and stay driving when a lot of people are giving up.
Well, I think the main sentiment there is like knowing what's best for yourself, and believing in that, and like it can come off like it comes off a little tongue-in-cheek sometime, whether it's that song or like Why Are You Not Rocking, but like it's also meant pretty literally and truthfully that as a kind of inspiration of people to really kind of stick to their guns on what they know is best for them.
Enjoy yourself. Do what you want to do. Have fun, man.
Don't hurt anybody, and do what's best for you.
And so I hear, why aren't you rocking? Some of that has to do with people in the front more interested in their phone than
Did you say that
the
to
show.
somebody? Because
It's in the bio.
Is it in the bio? Did you say that? Because I didn't say that. I don't know where that came from.
I never said it, but still, it's got something.
It's kind of crazy though.
I know. Well, you know what?
Everybody's holding up their phones or checking their phones.
I don't love that. I don't love that, but I also don't care. If that's what you want to do at the show,
as long as you pay to get in, man.
Your ticket money, like I can't tell you.
But still, it's kind of strange when we grew up loving, or you couldn't wait for the show, AC/DC or Zeppelin or Ramones, and you couldn't imagine being dissuaded by text.
But there's those guys with those like really good iPads, and they like zoom in, and it's like HD, and you're standing behind them, and you're super far, but you can see perfect because they got a jumbotron right in front of you, recording the show. It's awesome, man. I'm for it.
It's kind of crazy.
For it as
what I don't like?
viewer.
I'll tell you what I don't like. When I see all these people taking all the photos and the videos of the show, and then I go online the next day, and none of it is tagged or online. It's like there was like 50 fucking cameras in the crowd, and not a single good picture has been posted on Instagram and tagged to us. Because like we like having that stuff because especially on this tour we're playing a lot of shows we've never played before, playing with great bands. Like we want to remember this stuff. We can't take pictures of our own show. So and we're the opening band, so the press isn't like clamoring over to get. So I just wonder where all the hell this content fucking goes, because they're shooting video and photos, and it's like I don't see any of it. So
it's not for the world, man.
Post it online.
Right, it stays on their
so I can
phone.
fucking see it.
Yeah, I know you guys have played some amazing festivals. Any crazy experiences or just surreal moments when you just walk out and there's just this amazing crowd?
What about the time you freaked out the dude from Iron Maiden?
Oh yeah, but that wasn't like walking out on stage.
That was funny though.
But I mean, you remember your first time when you walked out and there was just like a sea of people?
Yeah, that's Quebec.
Yeah, we played.
Heavy Montreal?
No,
or?
it was called Festival d'Été. It's in Quebec City. And it's like on this place called the Fields of Abraham. And it's like the biggest festival in Canada that you've never heard of because it's part of Quebec.
Yeah.
And there's like 100,000 people there. We opened for Guns N' Roses and the stage was ridiculous.
Oh, man.
By the time we went on stage, it was like more than most festivals.
Yeah.
And we're just like, okay, this is wicked.
It was like 40,000 when we went on, and it was the kind of stage that had like flanks
Okay.
that went out for like 50 feet. So like there was just monitors along the whole flanks. I was able to get like the monitor guy to copy my mix all the way down the whole flank, so I could only run 40 feet because that was my biggest cable at the time. I didn't have wireless, so I like would run until like my cable would stop, and then I just run back. But that was pretty fun, and it was a pretty good example of like us kind of like jumping the line as far as like playing. Like we weren't quite there yet, so it was like I was actually pretty nerve wracking, and like I got nervous straight up when I don't usually get nervous for shows anymore. But that one was, you could see people to like the horizon, and they had those like speaker towers.
Right.
It had to go back like every like
Periodic.
200 feet.
Yeah, like big screens on the backs of them.
Yeah.
Right. You could be a mile away and they still hear it and see it.
Yeah.
Now, I know you toured with Slash, and Slash said some really nice things about you. You know, loves the fact you guys, you know, got the soul, got the heavy, got the passion. You know, what's it like playing with Slash?
He's cool. Yeah. He's a really good guy. Really nice.
Really
Really
down
awesome
to
to
earth.
watch every day. Oh yeah, super down to earth.
Yeah.
Everyone in that camp, Miles and all the conspirators,
Right.
those guys, they're the best ones.
Yeah.
So easy to tour with, so accommodating to us. Like they hooked us up as much as they could all the time. They were just real, like, quality people.
Sure.
Yeah, they treat us real well.
Yeah.
And like we have to run pretty lean with no crew, so they like lend us their crew members when we need help with like loading in or out or like working on gear and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just been really. It's honestly been an eye opener to see how many headlining acts are class acts and willing to like support us when we're like, you know, short on crew or just need those support slots. And yeah, it's been like really encouraging just to see all that, because like I don't know, when you don't know about those bands, you don't know Alice in Chains, you don't know Slash, you don't know Alter Bridge, you don't know like Blackstone Cherry and Volbeat, and then all of a sudden you just think if they were dicks, you wouldn't be surprised. You know, you're like, you know what I mean? If they had like a chip on their shoulder and they were like kind of like, you know,
it's almost expected, so you're kind of blown away when they're not.
I think I did. I had a more pessimistic view before on that kind of stuff because I just didn't know any better, and it was really like a nice surprise to like get out with all these bands over the years and like see how nice. You almost can't get to the level these bands are at being a dick anymore.
Yeah.
It's such a tough place to try and make a living, and I think in a way that's maybe a good thing. You know, that's one of the positives that's come out of, you know, rock and roll taking a backseat to electronic music, and like, you know, making it a harder place for a 4-piece rock band to make it, is that it almost weeds those kind of people out, because they're not, you know, the general
nobody wants to play with them.
Nobody wants to play
book
with you.
them
No one
or-
wants to work with you. You know, it's not to say those people don't exist, but we haven't come across them yet, and that's been very fortunate for us.
Was it a little crazy that you've worked with Guns N' Roses with Axl, and you worked with Slash, and now they're together again, playing Coachella tomorrow night?
Yeah.
Cool.
Is that kind of crazy?
Yeah, it's super crazy.
Do you ever think that you were going to see that? Because Axl kept saying, "Not in our lifetime."
Yeah.
That's the name of the tour. Not in our lifetime.
Yeah, well, I mean, shit, he's surprising everybody lately, isn't he?
AC/DC, is that going to be a little crazy?
Working hard, man.
Oh
working
man,
hard.
I don't
Good
know.
for
I don't
him,
know.
man.
I don't
Good for
even
him.
know. I can't.
Yeah, let's hope it's a part-time thing, man. Brian Johnson is the man. If anybody could have taken over from Bon Scott, man, that's a miracle.
That's what I say. That's what I always say. The fact that they even were able to get over that is you know, remarkable. So I just you gotta just let them go, man. They've been going for 40 years or whatever. You can't be like, you don't know what you're doing. It's like no one can talk.
know exactly
you can't
what
talk
they
shit on any of those guys, because it doesn't matter.
I like it.
They've been around long enough. They don't care.
Yeah. Well, when we hear your music, we're obviously thinking of the classic rock, but we're also thinking of the monster trucks and NASCAR and the hot rods and all that. How much does that influence or go hand in hand with the music? You know, great piston pumping engines.
I'm
Not really.
We
like,
don't really think about it, but you're right. It's like
Well,
for it, but
it's definitely we'll definitely like finish a song and then be like, this is a driving tune. Like this is like a going down the highway kind of song, and that just I think is more reflective of our influence of other bands who have gone with that vibe more so than it is us giving a shit about cars. Because I still haven't owned my first car. I'm 35 years old.
I have a CRV, so it shows how tough I am.
Yeah, so I think that's just one of those things that innately go hand in hand. You know, I don't know we ever thought that much about it. I just think we just are following in a breed of music that just has lived there forever. And it's just we have our own. We've already had our own fan base tell us how many speeding tickets they've gotten because of us. You know, we just want everyone to be safe.
Sure. Get home. Make it home.
Yeah.
Well, now, you know, playing with a great band like Blackstone Cherry, again, a great North American band. It's got that southern swagger, got that classic rock feel.
Right.
You know, what can you say about these guys?
Great, awesome dudes.
I say it probably like one of the closest bands we have to like really joining forces in a way. I mean, they're ahead of the game a lot of the ways for us, but it's something that something we knew before we even toured with them that we wanted to get on shows with them. I think now that we're doing it and we see that, it's kind of funny because like we get tagged as being a southern rock band all the time, but we're from Canada, and so like this is like they're actually a southern rock band from the south, and so I think it's a good match, and I hope we get to do a lot more shows.
Yeah. Well, amazing new album. I want to congratulate you on Sitting Heavy. You know, I know you guys got some great touring, some big shows, festivals coming up.
Yeah.
What advice do you give to the young bands? I know the business constantly changing, but as far as that kind of perseverance and stick-to-itness, you know, what do you tell a young band or young player today?
I always say the same thing.
Just have fun. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, love your own music.
Yeah.
Like find a way to love your own tunes, because if you don't, no one else is going to. It's pretty straightforward. I know this from experience and like being in bands that I was just in because I thought they were going to get somewhere, and then coming to the like really like stark realization I didn't even like the music, and I was like, that was like an eye opener, being like, holy shit, I don't even like this. Like I wouldn't even listen to this. Why am I in this fucking band if I wouldn't even listen to it? And everything changed once I really started to enjoy. Just looked at it from a having fun standpoint as opposed to, you know, worrying about where it's going to go or, you know, who else is going to like it.
I would do what I wanted.
Man,
if you do it for the love of it, you know, great things can come.
I learned from him.
If you think you're going to be an overnight millionaire, get out right now.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, guys. Best of luck on the tour. Can't wait to see you tonight. The whiskey.